All right, so welcome back to Threads of the Pattern, episode 2, where in this series we're going to be talking about our favorite characters in the Wheel of Time and theorizing where they're going to be in season 3 of Wheel of Time. Today we're going to be diving into the theories for season 3 on the future Amyrlin seat herself, Egwene.
Yes. Yes.
But first, please make note of the little symbol on the top side of the screen where it says full book spoilers. So just a full fair warning for everybody. We will try to give warnings before we, say anything, but just a fair warning.
All right. So where did we leave off with Egwene?
She had just murdered Rena.
Oh. She just committed murder. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a big thing for her in season 3. I can see it going like one of two ways for her. Either the Aiel will make her feel like I think she's going to feel some level of guilt for killing her in the manner that she killed her, because Rena freed her from the collar. And she had said, if you free me, I'll let you go. But then she killed her anyway, or she let her die anyway. So
I think, because I'm rereading the books right now, like Egwene, she was so passionate. And so I think she is someone like, unlike Nynaeve, who, yes, kind of explodes, she tends to think about things a little bit more. And so I'm sure that is like just a shock to her system.
Once the adrenaline wears off and she gets to
once it settles in. But also what's interesting to me about her in the show is she's much more of a solitary character than she was in the books. Like she was so we haven't seen a lot of the interconnected relationships with her. Like we see her relationship with Nynaeve and with Elaine, but she doesn't a little, not nearly as much as we did in the books. Like she had much more of that village girl in the books. Yeah. So I'm curious how being more solitary, is that foreshadowing for what's coming? That she is kind of separate from everyone else? I don't know.
Yeah. Once she gets to the Aiel, I could see that part going one of two ways. Either the Aiel are going to make her feel less guilty about having killed Rena because, she was an enemy, or they're going to be like, well, you killed essentially an unarmed person after they had done a thing that, you told them to do and you weren't going to kill them. So you have tow. Now I could see them saying that she has tow either way. Like, oh, you killed this woman who was your enemy, but, she was unarmed and blah, blah, blah. So you have tow. Or, you shouldn't have, you murdered this person. You have greater tow. So it's just basically the size of her toes. How big her toe is and how hard it is for her to fulfill. I feel like she's going to end up with toe for this, though, if she explains it to the wise ones.
Oh, for sure.
And then obviously her entire captivity with the Shanshan is gonna play dearly into that. There was a lot of traumas with that.
It's interesting to me that those two storylines are going to be so much closer together timeline wise than they were in the books. Like her capture and her release and her growth journey that she takes on the road to Tyr before she then meets the wise ones in the dream. I don't know. I just feel like she had more time to develop. It's going to be really interesting if they're heading straight to the waste, which is what we think is going to happen, right? They're just going to perhaps portal stone straight there. So she's going to be more traumatized. She's going to kind of come into her time with the wise ones from a place of trauma, which I think is really going to be impactful for her. I think they're going to be wildly healing for her.
Yeah.
More than even they were in the books.
I mean, we see no scenes essentially in that teaser trailer of Egwene and Rand and Maureen and Lan anywhere else but the Waste and Ruidian, except for their, weird little flashes of memories of. So the only scene that we see of Egwene not in the Waste is the scene of her testing, which I can bring up on screen right now so that we can look at it. So she's
going to go back to the tower. Yeah.
So she's going to have to go back to the tower at some point, and then leave the tower and go to the Waste, which is interesting to me. she can't possibly be tested anywhere else. Like, obviously, the arches are only in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to have to get tested there. And then we see her in the waste with the rest of the group. So how is she going to get there? Like, and how is she going to split from the group and then get back together with the group? It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten about that.
So in the image, obviously, we have.
Oh wait, hold on. They're still novices, obviously, right now. In the books, she had already been.
Egwene Nynaeve is an accepted. She
is the only
passed.
accepted.
Is
but
the
like
only accepted, yeah.
When they left in the books, they were all accepted because they
were
all
all
had their
accepted,
great
yeah.
serpent rings,
Yes.
which is how they were able to pretend to be Aes Sedai.
Yeah. So is this going to be before? Obviously, it's got to be before they go to the waste. So are they going to make a pit stop in Tar Valon, like on the way?
I
Like,
don't see Rand going to Tar Valon. I don't.
Yeah, me either. I have or Maureen at this point. Like, the only thing that I could think of is a dream. Like, she's going to be dreamwalking. Like, I think any interaction that she has with Elaine and Nynaeve in season 3 is going to be dreamwalking.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to do a lot more dreamwalking than she did in the books in season 3. And that could be what brings her to the waste. But again, I don't see how she's going to go from the tower to the waste physically.
Maybe this whole thing happens and Maureen ships the girls back to Tar Valon because she thinks that gets their influence away from Rand. So she ships them back.
And they're also, quote unquote, safe there.
Safe. Yes, they're safe there. But then it's in the tower where she starts delving more into the dream and she meets the wise ones in Tel'aran'rhiod, and then they tell her to come to the waste. Yeah. But that doesn't explain, is she in that shot of Rudian?
From the teasers, no, she's not. It's just not. Okay. Lan, unless she's wearing like a cat and soar, she's not in that shot.
Okay.
There's two wise ones, Maureen, Lan, and who I'm hoping is Ruark, and a bunch of Aiel.
Okay, so yeah, that's my prediction. Is Maureen tries to send the girls back to the tower for safekeeping and to get rid of rid of their influence on Rand, and then that's how so maybe they make a separate journey.
Yeah, as Noman Garden said, she definitely hasn't earned her cat and soar yet, so for sure she would not be. They would not let her wear that for sure. If they all go to Tar Valon, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, it would answer a lot of questions. Like, Matt would be able to have his scene with Galad and Gowan if they're both in it, or one or both or the other or whatever. Maureen would have to reunite with Siuan. Egwene would be able to get tested, and then they would all be able to leave, like, together. But they still have to get out of Thom, and from Thom to Tar Valon is far. Like, it's really far. And then from Tar Valon to Rudian is far. So they're going to have to be doing some sort of traveling at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to go through the ways. It's got to be a portal stone or traveling out and out. I don't think it's going to be traveling.
Talked about portal stones in the show. I know they played such a big part in the books, but I almost wonder if they're going to try to use the ways, because that's already a known commodity to the audience. Like, when you think about people who haven't read the books.
Exactly. So at the beginning of the season, they're either going to be in Thom, like everyone's in Thom, or just outside of Thom or whatever. In the books, that's when the big Trolloc attack happens. And that's when Rand blows up and pretty much leaves, and they all start chasing him across the continent. And Maureen sends the girls back to Tower with Matt to get the dagger cleansed. And that's when they all get tested and blah, blah, blah. They get their Black Aja quest and are sent out. And that's when Tenchiko and all that stuff happens. True. We have her getting tested, and then this image of the two of them laying on the floor here is the next image we see in the trailer. Do you think that this is her dreaming herself to Rand?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I think she's, we haven't had those scenes where she kind of lets him go yet, and I feel like that's going to happen in the dream. That
conversation they have in the books of like,
when she takes Elaine,
they break up, but they don't break up, but they're both like, we're not meant to be together like that. It was so awkward I can't wait to see that happen on camera, if they do something like that on camera.
I just read the scene where like she essentially like hands him over to Elaine, like where they go to his room, they're in Tyr, and they go to his room to kind of for her to be like, Rand, it's over. I love you like a brother. And for Elaine to be like, well, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I hope we see something like that.
Yeah. They know the Black Aja is real. They're going to tell Maureen, obviously. I could see Maureen giving them the heads up of like, hey, don't tell any other Aes Sedai this. They're not going to believe you. They might think you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. So, keep that to yourselves and go and try to hunt the Black Aja. I could see Maureen giving them the task, or her telling them to tell Siuan, and, Siuan will help them. There's a lot of play there, but, that could get them back to Tar Valon too.
True. So where do we think she ends the season? Obviously, the things we know from the preview, we've already said she's going to go to the waste in some form, be it in the dream or in life. She's going to go back to the tower through the arches, be raised to accepted. Do we think that we see the drama in the tower this season? Do you think we get to, I guess we are full spoilers, where Siuan is deposed? Do we think we get all the way there?
I mean, from the rest that we've seen, now that we've seen that trailer, we can theorize a little bit better. But I think so. I think we're going to see specifically that Alana and Landrin fight that we see in the trailer. And we see then Alana kind of upset, probably a lost warder. Hope it's not Maxim. I mean, I love Ivan, but like,
I think Taylor it's probably
Taylor Napier is just, he's so much fun also on social media. Like, that's why I'd be sad to see him go, because he's just so much fun also on social media. And like, he would, have less interaction, I feel like, with us if he was busy doing other things.
See, if we think we're going to see that this season, I think it's really important that Egwene spends a chunk of the season in the tower, because she's such an important part of that split once it happens. But I think it's important that she's there, like, in the politics. And so I'm sure we're going to see like a bigger gap, like her and Leandrin. I think they're going to have some more run-ins, and it's really going to color her opinion of the Red Aja, because that was really prominent in the book. So I think if she spends more time in the tower, we'll see that too.
Yeah. And there is the scene in the teaser trailer where we see Maureen also on the streets of Tar Valon. The lighting looks very similar to the Leandrin and Alana scenes. That could be something that we see happen either early on in the season, or at the very least, Maureen being in Tar Valon. Like, obviously could easily just be one of her thousand lives that she lived. But at some point, Tar Valon is going to have to cross paths with either the whole or part of this group.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think by the end of season 3, she'll be in the waste with the wise ones.
Physically there. She's going to
physically there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She needs to learn from the wise ones for dreaming. And I think a big thing will be her exploring the one power for herself and realizing like that the Aes Sedai aren't the be all end all of the one power. They'll play into some of the later series things. So slight spoiler of like, the Aes Sedai kind of hamstringing themselves by the way they teach themselves the one power and how to channel, like,
and all the hand movements and stuff.
Yeah. So I think, and since Egwene has been really practicing without hand motions, that's something that the Aiel will see in her. And, the Aiel in the books don't do that. They don't do the crazy hand motions. And I really hope we get a scene of like Maureen channeling, and one of the wise ones would be like, what is all this? Like, why are you
what is the drama here?
Yeah. Why are you doing that? I think that'll be funny. Some of the big things for her are going to be her guilt. With Rena, I think, at the very least, all of the trauma that she suffered as a captive, that's going to come into play. I think she's going to start, like you said, where she's going to start coming into her leadership position in season 3. She's seen herself as a follower up until this point. Like she was a follower of Nynaeve. She wanted to be a wisdom. She was, following Maureen. She wants to be an Aes Sedai. And now, she's kind of tagging along behind Nynaeve because Nynaeve wasn't accepted. So she's, she doesn't see herself as a leader. And I think in season 3 is going to come to the point of where she sees herself as a leader now. And like, she could do that, especially if she does the thing where she pretends to be an Aes Sedai. So like, if that's something she does, then that will be the start of, seeing fully realized Amyrlin Seat gangster Egwene.
Yep. No, I really think she's going to come into her own. That's why I think they're kind of making her more solitary. They're going to show that she has enough and she is enough on her own.
So where do you think she'll end up? Same thing, waste, or what do you think?
I don't know. When I originally going into it, yeah, I thought she was going to travel right to the waist. But now that we've talked it out, I don't know. I don't know if she ends. I don't know if episode 8, if there's 8 episodes, that she ends in the waist. I think she goes, but maybe with the conflict in the tower, maybe she ends up back that direction by the end of the season. I don't know.
It's a lot of
It's a
footwork for
lot.
her. She's got to get a Fitbit, get those steps in. It's going to be a lot of walking. Like, one of the really great things that I really enjoyed in the series was seeing her learn from multiple sources and then take all of the things that she learned and put them together and make something of her own. And that was one of the really cool things about Egwene as a character, in my opinion, at least.
Well, and I think what she learns from having, because her and Avienda become really close in the books too. Like, they form that huge relationship in the Stone of Tear where they really become friends. And I think she teaches her so much about a different kind of strength too. And so I think they're really important for each other.
Yeah. So the last image we see of her is this one, which definitely looks like it's her in the waist, but she's got a weird, creepy face. And also, like, this scene, if you watch the clip, is kind of like distorted a little. So it could be her just kind of traveling in the waist, maybe in the dream world. So I don't know.
I am kind of wondering, maybe she doesn't get there in person. I don't know. I'm on the fence now. But yeah, she definitely looks like she's smirking here. Like, she's, I don't know.
She's a little creepy. She looks a little creepy there. It's like just a little smirk. And if you actually watch the trailer, so if I scroll through both images, hold on, like, you could see, watch. So, like, here's the first thing. They look very similar, but if I scroll to the second one, watch the left side of her mouth, or the right for us. See, like, the smirk kind of deepens a little bit. You could see, like, she's about to start smiling. Even her eyes change a little bit from that scene to this scene.
Which kind of makes me wonder if it's in the dream. I was just rereading the part in the books where she meets the wise one in the dream, and she, like, really thought she could get the best of her, because she doesn't know how well these Aiel women know, how to dream and how to manipulate it. And she was a little bit I don't know, cocky in the book, that, like, I can get the better of them. And so I wonder if that is a piece of that, of her being like, these women, they don't know.
And then they school her hard.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
I hope we get that too. So, okay. So all we know for sure is that Egwene's going to be doing a lot of traveling, traveling small T in season 3. She's going to be trekking around a bit, whether it's, from Thom to the waist, or from Thom to Tarvalon to the waist, like, who knows, but it's going to be something. She could, I could see her even maybe going through the ways by herself, because, she's a little off the wall, man. She, who knows? But all I know is that the writers are going to have their work cut out for them in how this makes sense, So I'm interested to see what they do with that. Egwene is a great character in the books. At this point, I would say she was an Aes Sedai at this point, like, almost by her experiences, the things that she's done. Like, she's telling people she's an Aes Sedai, but by the end of when she leaves the Waste, by the end of Shadow Rising, she really was an Aes Sedai. Like, she really did all of the things she needed to do. Like, she came into that role for real. And I think that's kind of what Jordan was getting at, especially since, again, spoiler for the rest of the books, she never really gets tested and never really does it, even though she says she wants to. She didn't, and she still was an Aes Sedai. So I think that was, like, kind of his way of showing the growth through that, because she does evolve very much so from the beginning when she first starts calling herself Aes Sedai to the end when she admits that she isn't, technically, and owns up to the obligation of that.
Yeah, very true.
All right, well, that's pretty much it for Egwene, I think. Let us know what y'all think on Egwene, some of our theories. If you have any of your own, did we miss anything? Did we get anything wrong? And we'll see you guys next time. I think we're going to be doing maybe Perrin next. We'll see.
Your favorite.
Yay! Well, my favorite is Maureen, but out of the MN Fields 5, I got to love my boy. I got to love my bearded boy. Come on. And Marcus is fantastic. I'm loving him as Perrin. All right. Peace out.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for sticking around to the end. As always, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button or leave a comment. We like comments, especially positive ones. If you have a friend who enjoys the Wheel of Time, tell them about Dragonmount.com and our show. Special thanks to our show sponsor, Tor Books, as well as to our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about how our show is made and get additional insights into the Wheel of Time, you can become a Patreon supporter. We have a lot of big plans for the show, and your contribution will go a long way to making them a reality. Be sure to follow Dragonmount on social media, and see you next time!